Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our first Formula 1 2020 Day 1 Winter Testing Review. Yes, that's a long name, but blimey, we've made it. We've made it at last. Testing cars. Cars on track are finally here, and although it's not a real competitive session, it's just that feeling, that fuzzy feeling, that warm feeling. Formula 1 is back, ladies and gents, and we have waited only 2 months. It's barely even 2 months. Abu Dhabi was at the beginning of December, but we've been patient. I think we can all pat ourselves on the back. The winter has been long, but testing is here. I've had a few questions, and I just want to address them on day one, get them out of the way. What am I going to be doing? How am I going to be covering testing? Because at the end of the day, it's testing, and we can't really learn a fat lot. We can learn some things, and that's why I'm doing these videos, to try and inform you as best I can, because I understand it's mega expensive and also difficult to watch Formula 1 testing. Depends on where you are around the world, of course. But in these videos, I'm hoping to give you a rundown of testing, so you don't need to worry about it. So, if you want to keep up to date with testing, of course, subscribe button is down below if you fancy. And if you do enjoy the video, of course, hit that like button. But as you can see on screen, there's a lot of data we've got to be getting through. And this is the nicest way I can do it. And it looks a bit scary. It looks like a lot of numbers. Just remember, and always remember this, and I know some comments will still mug me off about it, it is testing, and we do have to take every single little bit of data with a pinch of salt. But that's no fun. That's no fun. I'm not going to be going full hyper tinfoil hat mode, but I will try and read into it as best I can. Also, there's a lot of data on screen, and also I'm just going to be telling you this day one. The rest of the days, I'm just going to jump straight into it. There's a lot of data on screen, but in my eyes, not enough. So currently on screen, we don't have the tyre information because I can't fit it in, unfortunately. So if you really want to know, I can make that change and try and wiggle a few things around for tomorrow. So I'd love to know any feedback for tomorrow in the comment section below. I believe that is everything. Let's crack on with testing day one. I mean, you've been looking at the results on the screen for the last few minutes or so. Mercedes won 2. Is that the way we wanted to start 2020? I don't think a lot of people would have said so, but it's testing. No need to panic just yet, but yes, Lewis Hamilton, the reigning world champion, ends the first official session of 2020 top with a 1:16.976. Not a bad lap, especially when you compare that to last year's testing. Not bad at all, but all of the teams, even Antonio Giovinazzi down in P15, relatively close. And already, again, it's only testing, I've got a good feeling about this season. Bottas, P2, 3/10 behind. His teammate, not a big gap at all. Sergio Perez, P3 for Racing Point. Verstappen, P5, with Danny Kvyat in the newly named AlphaTauri. AlphaTauri, yes, that is how you pronounce it. I will learn. I will probably do a few slips of the tongue, but I will learn. AlphaTauri in P5. Carlos Sainz, P6. The two Renault boys with the return of Esteban Ocon in P7 and 8. George Russell of Williams inside the top 10. Very impressed with the Williams team in general. I want to talk about those in a moment. P9 for Russell. P10 for Lance Stroll. Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari wasn't supposed to drive today. Sebastian Vettel was a little bit poorly, so sat the day out. Leclerc came in. Vettel is now set to do tomorrow instead. P11. The only current rookie in 2020, Nicholas Latifi in P12. Robert Kubica did the morning session for Alfa Romeo, his new team. Of course, he won't race there full time. He's their reserve driver, but will do a few practice sessions over the year. He was P13. Kevin Magnussen, the lone Haas, in P14. And Antonio Giovinazzi, our final runner, who ran in the afternoon, in P15. Times don't really tell you a fat lot, but what I think is a fairly interesting metric to use is laps completed. And my goodness, did we see a lot of laps today? I did not expect every single team to pass 100 laps, especially on day one. I don't think in a single day last year, every team was able to do it. And yet day one of this year, they've all gone and done it. Well done. Fair play to every team. Bear in mind that last year, one of the teams didn't even show up, Williams, at the beginning of testing. What a mighty effort this was. Not only from the teams, but the drivers as well. Very, very few mistakes throughout the day. We saw a couple of lockups here and there, nothing too spectacular. Kevin Magnussen in the morning session had an off at turn 9, almost into the barrier, but not super close, through the escape road. Max Verstappen had a few spins, 3 spins in the afternoon in the final sector, proves he was really pushing that Red Bull, or at least pushing it a little bit more than some of the other drivers. But apart from that, a very, very quiet day, which I don't expect to say for any of the other days, because as teams run out of time and we get less and less days to actually go out on track, they're going to be trying more and more things, pushing those cars more and more. The drivers are going to really try and test their limits more and more. And eventually, reliability is going to get worse and worse. Don't forget, in testing, the teams only use one car. So although the numbers are different, the teams literally have to swap the stickers. Yeah, that's generally why the drivers do one day each. Although, as you can see, about half of the grid this time out on the first day, that's generally why it's the first day. But Mercedes, Racing Point, Renault, Williams, Alfa Romeo, all of those teams split their car throughout the day. The rest of them, one driver. There's no real advantage or disadvantage. It's just a little bit easier with one driver, but then the driver does more laps in one day, so no real big difference. But Mercedes, wow, both drivers pretty close to 100 laps. Lewis Hamilton 6 away, Valtteri Bottas 21. That's an effort. That's an effort and a half from Mercedes. Most laps last year, starting it off very strong this year. But apart from that, not too much to report from Mercedes. Their car looks very similar, no mistakes from either drivers, very straightforward. The man in third, Sergio Perez, bit more of an interesting story, and it's one of the teams I want to focus on today. And what I'm going to try and do is focus on maybe 2 or 3 teams each day, just to keep things fresh and mix things up a little bit. Although, like I say, I think as testing gets on and teams get a little bit more pressured, I think stories will evolve a little bit later. But today, certainly Racing Point, big story. Their pace, and again, it's testing, looks good. Looks strong. And is this a big surprise? Well, not really. Lawrence Stroll and his consortium of business boys and girls, their money that they invested almost 2 years ago now, that's really starting to come to the forefront of the team. And the car itself, for the most part, looks like a pink Mercedes from 2019. Of course, the team has quite heavy ties with Mercedes, and now they've got heavier ties with Aston Martin, who also are linked with Mercedes, becoming a bit of a B team, which I didn't expect over the winter, but definitely the direction they've gone mechanically and aerodynamically with that car, that was a mouthful, looks very Mercedes-esque, which I'm sure there will be a few question marks raised about that. And of course it is interesting, but I didn't expect it, and pace at the moment looks good. Very close to Valtteri Bottas in the morning session. Hamilton, who ran in the afternoon, got a little bit further away, but not too much, which is promising, but it's only testing. Verstappen at P4, just in front of the AlphaTauri of Danny Kvyat. I'm going to focus on both of those two teams another day, but Verstappen, 168 laps. What an effort. Anyone who does over 100 laps on their own, fair play, but 168, that's not bad at all. That's not bad indeed. Danny Kvyat and the AlphaTauri, an issue in the pit lane early on in the morning session, and that was about it. A very quiet day from Danny. In his new colours, the car is looking fantastic. We knew it would, but it looks even better on track. Carlos Sainz in the McLaren, a strong day from McLaren, I would say, on the opposite tyres to cars around them. Again, it's difficult to judge whether the car's on a higher fuel load if it's not, but I was liking some of their times in the morning session. And Sainz, 161 laps. Good start for McLaren. Last couple of years, there's been a few hiccups. Last year in particular, drivers were making a few errors in the early stages of testing, but today, very, very smooth running from Carlos Sainz. Renault, not the most laps of all the teams, 54 for Ricciardo, who left the afternoon session quite early, about 45 minutes to go, decided to leave the track. So whether there was some kind of issue, I doubt it. I would probably put that more down to the fact they'd done their running for the day, they'd got their data, they were happy with the car. But Ricciardo, 54 laps, Ocon, 62. This is the team I want to talk about, Williams. And then I'll leave it there because it's day one. But what a turnaround. What an incredible... I say incredible turnaround. Last year they didn't show up for the first 2.5 days. And that third day they got out on track, but there was no realistic running. Over 100 laps for Williams today. They only managed 380 last year. 100 today, and Russell's lap time was better than any lap time Williams did in their first 5 days of testing last year. Improvements are being made, and whilst I don't want to get too carried away and say all their problems have been fixed, because that is far from the truth, and I think they will be at the back of the grid this year, it's nice to see they're going in the right direction. No reliability issues today so far. Drivers both look strong. We know George Russell's abilities, but Nicholas Latifi didn't look too bad in the afternoon. No mistakes whatsoever, which kind of surprised me a little bit considering he did 63 laps, but looked very, very comfortable. Of course, he did do a few practice sessions at the end of last season and scattered throughout the year last season. But I was very impressed with Nicholas Latifi today. And again, not quite on the pace of George Russell, but good early signs for Williams. Stroll, 50 laps, a good effort. Leclerc and Ferrari, 131 laps, but down in P11. Sky were quite critical of Ferrari. I think it's too early to tell. They kept it quiet. Last year, a lot of media attention on Ferrari saying they're going to be the best team, they're going to comfortably win the championship. They only won 3 races. So I think if they just take a more laid-back, calm approach to this year, they can go into the season with a much different and better mindset, in my opinion. So I wouldn't be too worried about that, Ferrari fans. And at the bottom of the table, the 2 Alfa Romeo cars launched their livery today. Very, very similar, almost identical to the last 2 years. A slight bit more red on the nose. But apart from that, not a big change. Pace today, not too alarming, is what I would say. Were Kubica and Giovinazzi on big fuel loads? We don't really know. I'm a little bit surprised at Gio's best time being 3.1 seconds off K-Mag. But 78 laps completed. There didn't seem to be much stress or hassle at the team. Very, very easily, Gio could have gone much quicker than that, so I wouldn't be worried, Alfa Romeo fans. And Kevin Magnussen, 104 laps for Haas, a quiet day. I feel the coverage didn't really pick up on the Haas much throughout the day. Of course, there was an excursion in the first half of the day. But apart from that, not a fat lot. So, analysis of the day, very, very strong from most teams. Very, very smooth from most teams. I think we're going to see some fireworks over the next few days. Hopefully, I filled you in for today's testing. Of course, I can't show you much because Formula 1 at this time of year are protective, shall we say, about images. Even though I've got the rights to use them, they're a little bit trigger happy with copyright notices. So for the first few days, I'll just keep it calm with what I put out. And then if you let me know in the comments ways potentially I can improve this, I've got a few things I'll work on for tomorrow and Friday. And then the next week we can make it even better. But pretty much, that's it. From day one of testing, we've made it to testing, ladies and gents. Might as well plug this, massive thanks to the F1 Word, doing coverage. If you can't watch streaming, he is doing coverage for you. And whilst he's not allowed to provide footage, and again, Formula 1 are very, very trigger happy with copy strikes, even though they're not supposed to at this time of year. And I hope that's changed this year. But he's doing talking all day. Just go and watch it. If you can't watch streaming, go over to the F1 Word. He's got guests on all the time. That was an awful plug. but hopefully you know what I mean. I was on with him this afternoon, so I feel like I've been talking about testing all day, so I hope I haven't missed anything. I'll leave it there. I'm dragging this out now and I don't mean to. Thank you for watching. If you are new around here and want to keep up to date with Formula 1 2020, subscribe button is down below if you fancy it. If you did enjoy today's video, you can also hit that like button. That is an option for you if you did enjoy. Thank you for watching, guys. Tomorrow will be better. I will not be as tired tomorrow. Thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next one.